Hey y'all, this is the Dojo podcast, episode 3. This one's with Airospace, talking about volume 3 that he just put out a little while ago. He's also got a couple of other projects up in the gun, so kind of speak a little bit briefly on that as well with his band. A little story behind that. And the thing I like about this interview is he kind of dives a little bit into the business side of things. Thing that, you know, for a lot of us musicians really don't like to talk about, but nonetheless gives a lot of truth to it, gives a lot of really beautiful insight. So without further ado, here's my talk with Airospace. Enjoy.
Doug is a funny character. Doug funny.
Or what was it? What was the like antagonist? What was it? Roger?
Roger Klotz. What kind of name?
The like one metal kid in the whole school, and he's like the asshole.
Oh, right. The one that listens to Iron Maiden.
Yep.
Borgor, Amon Amarth.
Of course, Doug's really good, like awesome black friend. What was it? Skeeter Skeeter was dope. Just like skateboarding and shit.
Skeeter broke all the racial barriers of that shit.
He did. He always had the best t-shirts.
Best t-shirts, best skills. DJ, he could cook. Skeeter was a guy.
Dude, every now and then, randomly, I always get, "You need more allowance."
Oh, hell. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
That song.
Yodeling.
Hey.
That's when it. That's how it all
The
started.
Dang, Doug's sister was lit as shit though.
And then Hey Arnold, which Flaming Osis did a beat with that with the title, the soundtrack title to that show, and that beat was fucking sick.
Right.
I gotta go back to that. So, man, where are you calling from right now?
Thurmont, Maryland.
Where?
Yeah, that's about an hour and a half outside of DC. Actually, I think more.
Oh, okay. Did you grow up there?
No, hell no. I grew up in DC.
What are you doing out there?
Just chilling, man. Just getting some nature and clearing my head.
Well, you just so how long was your tour for?
The tour was a week. What ended up happening was 2 days before we were supposed to go on tour, the promoter slash guy that was driving our van, also bringing the drums, he bailed out. Then the day of the tour, our guitarist got into a car accident, so we had to rent a car. And we packed up some stuff. The touring bands were like, hey, you could use the drum equipment. We're like, all right, cool. So we did it from DC to Florida and back.
Damn.
Yeah, we had to drop off halfway through the tour due to lack of funds and having to return the vehicle.
Yeah, that's never easy.
It's not, man. It's tough. One of my close boys, Christian, just hit me up yesterday, said that his van broke down. And they were still like a quarter way through their tour. They're over on the East Coast now. And they're stuck in Virginia trying to find a way out.
Like, what kind of camp would you say that like you guys usually stick to? I know it's like putting genres on things suck, but
that's hard because I'm more on the progressive metal / jazz side.
Okay.
One of our bassists actually big in post-hardcore, like newer post-hardcore, like Dance Gavin Dance, Hail the Sun, versus like guys you have to drive like Jehu.
Yeah, Between the Buried and Me, that type of stuff.
That's what I listen to.
Okay.
Our band records with Jamie King, so that's a very, very big thing. Like the Contortionist, Tesseract's my favorite band. Got a tattoo of it. Periphery.
Okay.
Things. That's me. Our vocalist is more into like Death Heaven / Destiny Potato, a couple other bands of that vein, and our both of our guitars are like Asian death metal. They love solos. It's just all melodies and solos because they sing as well. So things along the vein of Santana, etc. That's only in metal, and all together it just creates like a progressive post hardcore with a tinge of death metal.
Nice. So, unfortunately, you have the setback, but like, what's the plan now?
Currently, we're on hiatus. Like, I joined this band 2 years ago. I got approached to be in the band 2 years before that. So I've known the guys about almost 5 years. Um, the band is just chilling right now because I've been doing this aerospace thing since 2007. So that's always first and foremost for me. And when I joined the band, that's what they brought me in as.
It's about 11:30 this side on the West Coast. Thinking about Paige as it's basics like 6 notes or 6 views. One for each word that I use. It's a little too early to say that I love you, and that's 3. And half of you right now feels like half of me. But it's kinda late and my thoughts are getting to me. I'm just excited, I don't really know you, but if I can make you happy, I give you my whole world. And I can't fade, and I can't fade, and I can't fade this. And I can't fade, 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 and I can't fade this.
I don't know if I think I met you like real brief, and I think we're at Shango's house.
Mm-hmm.
But how many years ago that was? Maybe like 4 or 5?
Yeah, it's probably about, let's see, I got to California 2013, 2014, probably about 2-3 years.
Okay. How did the California trip come about?
I was chilling one day, and the guitarist for my band, actually, Ali, he had mentioned MI. I was living in Baltimore at the time, and I was going through a lot of shit. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of staying here. And I left. It's the best decision I made my entire life. But end of 2013, I left for LA, Hollywood specifically. It's pretty dope.
What program did you do at MI?
Drum program. Drums, and I wanted to do a tinge of audio engineering, but I got into an accident around the time that I was on academic probation, so I ended up forfeiting going to the school.
Oh shit. How long did you get to go for though?
About a year.
Okay. What's your take on it? I feel like with music schools out here, everybody kind of has a different experience from it, of course.
If I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, the year that I was in MI was the best year for the musicians of my, I'll say, instrumental background. Like, I love drums, and all of the drummers that went to MI the year I went there loved drums as well. They all expanded to do amazing things. Like, to name drop a few, David Myers plays for Frank Ocean, Cedric plays for Nick Jonas, Brent played bass for Justin Bieber for an award show, but now plays drums for will.i.am. Like, everybody that I went to school with at that time went on to do amazing things, which is a big reflection of how everyone learned at the school at the time. Like, the teachers that were there, they still had a little bit of hope. Around the time that I left, they swapped everything. The curriculum changed. Like, Rob Carson got moved to another drum thing. He wasn't like studying a core course anymore, and like pretty much MI just went to shit. So
yeah,
at the time I was there, it was pretty lit because of the musicians and because the teachers genuinely cared, but the school stopped caring because obviously money, so they just flipped everything. And even before that, apparently, when I was there, the teachers were telling us that it wasn't even what it used to be. So it was approaching the point of collapse for a long time.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's it's such a bummer because I kind of hear kind of mixed things about Full Sail. There's expressions in Emeryville up in the Bay Area, but that's kind of the same thing. I know a few people who have done really great things, but I feel like music like schools in general just are kind of sleeping.
They are. Like, that's, I don't know, man. Like, this is my take on music. Quick rant for like a minute. People will take from music. They'll tell their kids not to be musicians because there's no music, there's no funding, there's no this, there's no that, whatever. People will disrespect the shit out of music, but in the same instance, will have a favorite artist or a favorite song or a song that they play at their funeral or a song they want played at their wedding or something that they want dedicated to somebody. Like, it's a 50-50, and I feel like a lot of people's perception of music and musicians is heavily based off of what the media portrays musicians as. Music is now starting to have money thrown into it, like, in a different way, because now you can build yourself. You can be a business as a musician because now there's such a wide platform to do things. But people don't see it like that.
Yeah.
So as a result, you have music schools, which are just businesses now. Like, you know, back in the 80s, 90s, early thousands, you know, you'll hear a lot of the older generation talk about how music was and how labels used to, like, give shit ton of money to bands to actually build them, and now they don't care anymore. It's the truth. Music's a business now.
Yeah.
But with that, it evolved in a way where you can be that business if you so choose.
Yep. One example I saw was De La Soul for the latest album they just put out. I forget what like platform they put it out on, not maybe Kickstarter, but one of them, and they were trying to earn the money for the next album, and the reason why they wanted to do that is because they weren't sure people were still really kicking it with them still. And what they ended up doing is not only raising $100,000, but they ended up raising 600, and you know, obviously way more got them going, and the esteem from that like is pushing them. So
Yes,
it's
high.
it's so hard to say like whether or not it's going in the right direction or whether you know it's
Yeah, it's definitely a toss up, man. Like, I'm in a weird place with it because on one half I'm happy because me as an independent artist, I could learn and learn and learn and take what I've learned and apply and turn myself into a business so that I can expand in that way if I so choose without a label, you know?
mm-hmm.
The same essence, like being an artist doing both the business and the artistry, like you get lost in translation at some point. And there's a period where do you focus on the art or do you focus on the business? And while you're focusing on the business, is the art being tainted due to your vision now? Like like the business aspect changes and distorts music a lot. Like, it changes everything.
Oh yeah, no, completely. I mean that's I think that's the most common complaint when people just associate anything with like mainstream. Whenever you hear that argument, it's like, oh, mainstream shit sucks. Why? Because it was made for the intent of selling.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. Big fan of Vince Staples, and I was watching one of his interviews recently, one of his newest interviews, and he was talking about images and how a lot of rappers keep up this image that they have all this money. He was like, but the reality is they're not telling you about the shows that they throw and nobody shows up, or there's like 10 or 15 people in the crowd. Like, they're always flossing, talking about this, talking about that, trying to uphold this image for money, you know, and what it is, and trying to push it as a business. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I get it, but at the same time, trying to act like you have money that you don't have because you're a brand now, that's bananas to me.
I mean, it's
Like,
even to like not even to go as far as like fame or money. I think people just front these days, you know.
yeah,
With
yeah.
you got social media and like everything else as a background, like it's hard for people just to stay real.
Yeah, because you could be whatever you want. Like, you can literally be whatever you want. Like, you could be a professional whatever on Facebook. You could be a professional model on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? You could be a professional journalist on Twitter.
And I'm about to grab a grip. Basic, nothing past the Asics. Plimsolls, the outfit is ancient. Improper placement. Escape the vape hits with backwoods slurping. While the back hood's jerking and the crack shit is surfacing. Purpose in the worst of the disperse as a kid altering friends. We're strange. Who the fuck you gonna depend? AZ and Nas, JayZ and cars. Maybe I'm crazy and Baleen is flawed. Put the mascara on, baby, it's scars. I ain't been a good nigga since my mama got buried. And the bitch I was with, fuck my nigga, then scary, this blurry. Between me and the casket, after the burial, I'm watching Rico do vert flips and aerials. Ariel, the mermaid is a stereo. Snap, snap, clap, 3 hits back. I'm drunker than Jackie with a fist in his back. Snap, snap, clap, 3 steps back. I'm drunker than Jackie with a fist in his back. Snap, snap, clap, 3 hits back. I'm drunker than Jackie with a fist in his back. Snap, snap, clap, 3 steps back. I'm drunker than Jackie with a fist in his back. For each roller. Come on, nigga, get your skills up.
So started in '08, kind of like releasing stuff, or yeah. When did it start?
It started before then. Before I started releasing stuff, like I used to record on a digital camera. I would write lyrics and I would record on the voice recorder on a digital camera, and I would have the beat that I would have it to, and then I would take it off, put it on a computer, and try to put them together in Audacity. That was my first attempt at trying to do anything vocally.
It's so interesting how everybody starts. That's like, I mean, like, you just make it work, but that's a great way to start.
It's crazy, man. Like, you use what you have. Like,
yeah.
I went from that to a Rock Band mic.
Yep.
My first 2 mix. Well, let's see. The Distance Separation mixtape was recorded with my homeboy in Germantown, Walter, who's in this band named Body Thief. They're actually really good. My first one, like that first mixtape that I really, really dropped in 2010, that one was on Rock Band mic. The one from 2008, that one was on a digital camera mic mixing or something like that, mixed in with a laptop mic. After that was a USB mic. And then I didn't start going into the studio for real. Like, I've been recording in closets up until just last year, I believe, like the end of last year. I just started going to studios. Like, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3 was recorded in a closet. All Dreams End was recorded different places, but like living rooms and closets.
Damn.
Like, yeah, this tape Analog is going to drop in November. That's the first one that has like studio recording. Like, I went to different studios to get that one done. But every project I've had before that, although I mixed and mastered all of those, and those were all recorded in closets.
That's rad. So so these new projects and getting studio time, how'd that come about?
Okay, crazy story. So, I'm in Silver Lake, California with some homeboys from MI. Homeboy Dylan, shout out Dylan and Joey. They let me throw my mixtape release party at their house. Joey ended up knowing this guy named Law, who plays bass for Neo. Law had the studio. Law got me connected on a discount with the studio. It was like, hey, I have you in. Like, I love your shit. Like, this is my first time hearing it. I'm a really big fan. Like, this is dope. And he and I ended up linking. He and I ended up becoming really close friends. And that's where I recorded when I'm in LA. So that's how that's the first studio that I actually recorded in.
Nice. That's awesome. How many different spots are you going to for these projects?
For this project, the new one now, one.
Okay.
There's Gypsy Studios in Frederick, which is about 30 minutes from where I am now.
Okay. That's cool. So what's like the time spread on it? How long have you been working on it?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. It's been a couple months because Analogs didn't come up until like a couple months after Volume 3 dropped. So it was April, May, June. So about June, July, like I had an idea. I was like, yo, I'm gonna do a trap tape. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a trap tape, like some electronic vibes, but just some club bangers, whatever. Because at the end of the day, like, as much as I love, the style of music that I do, and that's the core of what I do, I grew up on some different music. Like, I grew up on the hip hop I grew up on: Eminem, JayZ, Lil Jon and East Side Boys, Lil Scrappy, a little bit of UGK, Outkast, like mainstream music. Like, I remember when Common's B first came out. Like, my love for mainstream music is always there and always will be there. So,
Yeah.
as much as I like trap music, I was like, all right, let me just do some dumb shit, see what happens. And then that dumb shit ended up becoming a serious, like, EP. So now I have 7 tracks of what are a serious trap EP.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there like any sort of particular like message involved with it, or is something kind of tying them all together, or is it just kind of like, bottles and hype?
It's based on space. Um, it's called Analogs, and it was taken from solar analog energy being injected from around the area of the sun. So every track is based off of something different. Like the first track is Infinite, Nova, Ganymede, which is a moon off of Jupiter. It just goes in that realm. And all of the songs are based around, emotion, but just a more straightforward expression of being lost, which is why I picked up why I use space, why I use Analogs as the name, and space as the theme behind it. Because going into space, yeah, you may have like a destination, like, oh yeah, where are you going when you go to space? Yeah, I'm going to the moon. But there's so much space around you before you even get to that destination. Mind you, there's so much space around you in general that it's very easy to get lost if like if you're shit, what is that word? I can't even think of it. Like, if you're outside of your ship and you want to, propel yourself in a particular direction and you're off by a certain amount of degrees, you can get caught up in another orbit and end up on the other side of the solar system. Like, feelings work that way too. A lot of feelings and emotions with human beings are a big gray area. Like, everything is really perception. Like how you may feel about something is based off of your perception of what you understand things around you to be. And that's just kind of how it works. So I tied the two together. It wasn't meant to come out that heavy, actually. It was supposed to be fun and just like whatever. And then I started writing lyrics, and yeah, that changed everything.
Yeah. When you're writing these songs, are these kind of like new concepts for like each track, like, or do you end up kind of how do I say, like a better word, like regurgitating like kind of like simple kind of like messages or themes and stuff of like original things that like maybe you haven't been able to get out? But I imagine making music since like 2008, like you've had quite a number of opportunities to be able to put this on paper.
It's kind of like I've been through so much shit in my life that there is like a never-ending well of experiences to pick from and write about. Like, or I can write about an experience and write about it in a way where it seems like it's about something else. Like Eminem wrote 25 to Life, and it's from the perspective of what seems like a relationship. I don't think she understands the sacrifices that I made. Maybe it's the bitch that acted right. I would have stayed, but I've already wasted over half my life. I would have laid down and died for you. I no longer cry for you. No longer pain, bitch. You. Whole song is like sounding like a relationship, and it's talking about him and hip hop and how much he's lost dedicating and being married to hip hop. So there's times where I'll write a song like that, and it's about something completely different than what I'm expressing it as. I don't know. I just try to find more creative ways to say things, like writing exercises for songs and shit. Like, I have a couple songs where I wrote from the perspective of animals, or write from the perspective of an inanimate object and what it would be like being that object and being alive but no one knows you're alive and interacting with someone.
Perfect. I'm shoddy horror, mixed with mad hopper. The fist upon my arsenal, I kill with side summer. Gucci, Fendi, Louis, Prada. My cocktails, I ain't got none of my swagger still proper. Kaya Scardalario, Scarlett Johansson. Fucking Mandy Moore while being shot by Scott Henderson. God damn it, Kim, you fuck like a fucking mannequin. Wrong bitch, I'm so sorry, go back to banging sad of me. Hanging loose by the neck of my bafflement. Master building the bird with some Roman Catholic pacifists. Fuck reparations, nigga, pay me for these damages. Currency accepted form of time machines and Damocles. Rapper shit, somebody call Vader. I need my nigga ASAP 6. Some fake ass bitch nigga trying to take my shit. Tag it, rapper carbon compound, bout to base that trick. Acidic breathing on the mic. Eviscerate that shit, I said. Chillin' like the devil, I'm just trying to get it shoddy like Trick. Chillin' like the devil, I'm just trying to
Yeah, I've had a bunch of different jobs over the years. I've done landscaping, I did roofing, like I've worked in kitchens. Like I wanted to be a culinary artist for a long time. I started cooking from a very young age. That's the first thing. And then I was drawing. Like I can draw portraits very well, sketching. I didn't get into hip hop until later. I started with art, then moved to drumming, and then started writing the poetry turning to what's now the hip hop. It's originally spoken word too. So my 9 to 5 grind, is working at this limousine center or Walmart up until I save enough money to pay for what I need to. That's, what I'm saying? You gotta, I just noticed that there's sacrifices that you have to make and things you have to do in order to get from point A to point B. So once I get to point B, then I'm chilling for real. But as of right now, I'm still grinding. Mm-hmm.
And
Bro, let me tell you something. People disrespect the shit out of music. They disrespect the shit out of it. I saw a meme. I saw a meme on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I laughed, but I cried at the same time. It was like, so you gonna pay $200 for that Kanye ticket, but you're not gonna retweet your man's mixtape for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, ha, because it's so true. Like watching my grind, actually, seeing like how people were from the beginning, how people were like, oh, what do you do? Oh, you do this? Oh, yeah, cool, okay, whatever. Oh, what do you really do? And people going from what do you really do to, yo, you're gonna make it, you're gonna blow up, I see you doing it. People acting like they've been longtime supporters, seeing the opportunities I'm getting now and seeing what's happening. It's crazy seeing the transition. Like, people aren't going to support you unless they see that there's a potential of something in it for them in the future. Or if it's something that's cool and they're hopping on the bandwagon. I'll tell you on some real shit. People like mumble rap because it's convenient to like. It's a cool thing. It's a cool new thing to try out. Like, come on, there was the ice bucket challenge. There was the fire challenge. There was the how many seconds can you hold your breath till you pass out challenge. It's dumb as shit. So I view mumble rap, or what's happening now, as another thing on the trendy list of dumb shit, but just happens to be in music. And it works. People,
Yeah. It's true.
And that puts, and unfortunately, that puts artists in a place like, for me, I'm different because I'm extremely versatile in the sense where I'm a musician before a rapper. So I understand the concept of writing an arrangement, what goes where, what melody should sound like understanding notes and understanding what does and doesn't sound good together. So I have somewhat of an advantage when it comes to that. I can understand other rappers who rap a specific way and that's all they do, that's all they know, and they're like I'm sacrificing all this shit for it and I'm getting nothing. Like, I can understand that. Me, I'm at the point where I will hop on an EDM track with no problem because I know that I could bomb on an EDM track. I'll hop on a trap track if somebody calls me and asks me. Whereas a couple years ago, I wouldn't say that. But that was because of one, naivety on my part, two, fear, and three, insecurity. I'll say it's definitely a big thing in insecurity. Like, now I'm at the point where, because I see it from a business aspect and from the artist aspect, and I relate to so many different parts of the hip hop world, to me, it's not selling out. Doing a trap track and making money off of it, to me, is not selling out because I enjoy it. It's something that I would have fun doing. I would still say the same lyrics that I would say before. I would still have the same creative flows that I use now. Nothing would change. I would just rap over different production. That's why I don't really believe in that selling out shit, because there's nothing noble about starving. Like, regardless of what people will sit out there and tell you some bullshit about, there's nothing noble about starving. Starving your favorite artist is a terrible thing to do. Not helping support your favorite artist is a terrible thing to do. That is bleeding the culture. And people need to eat. People want to eat. People are hungry. Like, these artists, including myself, want to have an apartment and live off of the music and the craft and have an apartment and make music and do tour and do things like that and have food on the fucking table. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And people acting like there's something wrong with wanting food as an artist, that's a terrible thing. That is a terrible thing to perpetuate.
Yeah.
Artists paid. Artists should not have to struggle like the way they do. Especially being on a label. Like, you get being on a label, like, yeah, I get it. Labels are business, blah, 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 all that other shit. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, what would happen if you worked a 9 to 5 at McDonald's and you didn't get your paycheck? That's the side that people don't see about music, with where they can just take from it. Like, artists, like, man, I remember when I was releasing Volume 2, we didn't have electricity. So myself and Jumi, Dante, when he was doing this thing, myself and Jumi would walk about 5 miles to the library every day to mix that shit. I released Volume 2 at a library. I released Volume 3 from a Starbucks. Like, the grind is real, you know, like that 9 to 5 that put it in 12 hours. That when I recorded Volume 3, I was in Washington State for about 2 months with Terry Heskels, and I was recording like every day. I mean, up at 6. It was me and Lucid Optics, right? I was up at 6 sometimes recording. Would go to sleep for a couple hours up until about 9:30, 10. Wake up, and I would write and record all day until about 4 or 5 in the morning. And for maybe a paycheck, when I drop this album, when I drop this tape for free even, like, I still, at the end of the day, like, I'm getting a job because I don't care about the money for music. Like, I want the money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not about to sit up here and act like I don't want the guap. I definitely do. But I care more about the lyrics I write. I care more about what I connect to and what I feel and how I'm presenting that and how I'm projecting what's inside. That's always and will be the most important to me. Because if my music blows up one day, then I could continue making music just being myself. I don't have to alter anything about myself. But in order to maintain that balance and keep, like, some sort of sanity within self, definitely get that 9 to 5 grind, have some money, pay for the PR or whatever needs to be done so I don't have to do it anymore. I completely understand why he would be so salty. Because people treat, like, especially if you're a rapper, people treat you like shit. What do? You rap? Oh, of course you do. There's so many rappers. Everybody's a rapper now. And the first thing that most people hear when you say rapper is Lil Uzi. Well, I'm Minnesota. That shit. That's the first thing they hear. And they assume it's going to be bad. So you start off, the moment that you even say what you want to do or what you feel, you start off in the negative. So you're -10. And then you got to prove yourself. And then if you happen to get their attention and they really fuck with you, then you'll get to like 0 or maybe 5. And then you'll start getting some support. But the reality is there's a lot of people that love rapping, that love making music, that don't have the thing. And in order to make it, you have to have the thing. Vince Staples has the thing. Earl has the thing. Tyler had the thing. Drake has the thing. Like, Lil Uzi, as much as people may not like him, has the thing. Designer had the thing. So it's like, some people were meant to do it, some people weren't. I think it's kind of like a luck of the draw. I feel like some people were meant to do it, some people weren't, and then every now and then you get lucky, where you have people like Riff Raff.
Yeah, it's definitely talent, who you know, and timing.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's definitely timing. Like I sit back now and I look at the opportunities I have. It was definitely timing. Like a lot of what I have is timing. Like for example, the guy that I'm doing the collaboration with in Australia, Kamikaze, like he happened to find me looking for an artist to rap on this song. Like I spoke to him for about an hour and a half for the first time a couple of days ago, and first time we had an actual voice call. We've normally just been typing, and he told me the whole story of like how he found me, how everything happened, and he was at a similar point to me, and he reached out to a label. The label happened to hit him up. The label gave him enough to pay for whatever he like his project and his living and whatever. They took care of him, and then he for his new single he was looking for a rapper, and he went on SoundCloud, and he was on SoundCloud for days, weeks looking for a rapper, and just happened to find me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely luck.
Yep.
Then timing. I just happened to release Volume 3, and he just happened to be trying to do this single right after he got on the label, and he found me, a rapper with like what 2,000-3,000 follows on SoundCloud, and you just happen to find me. How did you even make that happen from Australia?
Yeah.
You know, that blows my mind still.
That's the funny thing about music these days is like on one side of the coin, of course, like we said at the beginning, on one side of the coin, it is ultimately this like frustrating, inefficient machine that is being that we're all so completely dependent on, but nobody wants to take care of it. But at the same time, it's like it's also on the creative side, it's like more potent than it's ever been.
Yeah. Yeah. New dude always, new schoolball play, used to date a dancer. New groove Broadway, movement salamander. Banter quite the same as his grungy threads. Ain't the first rodeo with thoughts of bungee jumping head first into the vortex spinning. Got his mind twisted, a little cynic and a little bit gifted. A lot of it is rote, but a little bit is not. A lot of said he fucking won't, and even more said he cannot. But who run these shoes better than me though? Focused on the bread, I keep the trico. Piecing off the piece though. I need my toes swimming with the salmon through the bear paws. All he had for dinner was a wishing well stare off. Yeah, you can write that in the fucking books.
You're saying that like you're recording these projects in like bedrooms and shit like that. Your voice always tends to carry well, like really well through all these projects. If there's any like any song in particular on like Volume 3 or Volume 2 that kind of because it sounds like you're kind of going into a new kind of like era with just being able to have like more tools and shit like that. What do you feel kind of like embodies like your old projects best?
I think my old projects were more just experimenting with what could feel comfortable. Like Volume 3, I'll tell you this. Volume 3 only came to be because of Life of Pablo. Like I had drawn a blank. I couldn't write. I had no ideas for the beats. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was extremely depressed. And this was when I was in Washington State and I was like recording. Like I would drink every day. I was drunk all day, every day. I just ate a bunch of shit. I just smoked. Like I was extremely fucked up. Like, and then I heard Life of Pablo because I'm kind of a Kanye stan. Always have been. I heard Life of Pablo should change my life, and I was like, okay, I know what Volume 3 is gonna be, and it wasn't influenced by Life of Pablo. More so, Life of Pablo gave me an understanding of myself. Like listening to it, it was like, wow, this is how I feel. Let me write about how I feel, which is something I did before, yeah, but I only wrote from a particular standpoint. Like, a lot of times you'll hear some of my old shit. Yeah, a lot of it's like, yeah, here's some sad shit. You hear some depressing shit every now and then. But for the majority of it, it was projected very angrily. I was very afraid of being sad up until Volume 3. Actually, it started with All Dreams End. All Dreams End was the beginning of me being okay with being sad. Like, I fought being sad. Like, a tear, fuck a tear. Fuck that. Like, anger was just everything. Something hurt me, I immediately jumped to being angry. And then over time, my writing started going in the direction of expressing what I really felt. Instead of just anger all the time, the sadness started coming out. The depression started coming out. So I started seeking producers that had that type of vibe. Like Emine, one of my favorite producers of all fucking time. Like, I'm working on some shit with him right now. He had that vibe. He was able to present exactly what I was feeling. The way I write is based off of feel. So it's not like, sometimes I'll sit there and I'll write, okay, this bar sounds like this. Okay, I'll go back and I'll be like, all right, I want this flow to go like this, so I'm going to put this word instead of that word. But most of my songs are written within 10, 15 minutes. Like, one verse, 2 verses and a hook, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, I get an inspiration from a song, and I feel that song, boom, all the lyrics immediately come. That's how I know what works and what doesn't. Because sometimes I'll feel that, and I'll write a song, and then I'll go in the booth and record it, and it sounds nothing like what it sounds like in my head, so I have to scrap it.
Do you feel that you end up deleting a lot of mistakes?
No.
No.
I'm a type of person where I'll go into the booth, and I'll knock it out in 1 take, or I'll knock it out in 15 takes, depending on the day.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the one that I feel the most is the one that's going to work. Like the first track on Volume 3, Faint. I don't really like people. I really want to partly. I just want to commit the one shawty. There's multiple versions of that song. And that one I picked because that one sounded the saddest. That one was the very first take I did of the song. And that one was the most true to how I felt. There were other versions that I did that sounded more on point, that sounded cooler, but that one was the one that I kept because that one was the one that when I listened to it back, I felt that. Like, I felt what I was saying. If I don't feel what I'm saying, like, I'll throw it out. If it doesn't sound like it captures what I'm trying to express properly, I'll throw it out.